Hey, it's the Low Life Podcast.
Do you know anything about nightmares? You jam to the songs of cowboys and service. Ever read no romance? Ever experienced the new wave? Next wave? Dream wave? Or cyberpunk? I didn't think so. It may be it's a world where you are doing the same thing. I'm going to do it. A world where curiosity and imagination.
I'd buy that for $1. Hide the planet! Hide the planet! Hide the planet! Hide the planet! Shut up and get in the car!
Go away, Baton.
Well, you did it. You found us again. And it's the Low Life Podcast. Yay. I'm CoinOps McGillicuddy here with Shadowlink.
Hello.
And Shadowlink has brought a guest.
Yes, yeah. Today we got Andrew McGee, who you may know. I mean, you likely know him as the director and writer of Venus. He's a filmmaker, a short filmmaker. He is working currently on 2 short films, both science fiction. First Sight, which is Black Mirror-esque, correct, Andrew?
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
Yeah, and The Eden Bound, which, and I don't want to make comparisons right out the gate, but I mean everything's derivative of something, but it definitely has major Battlestar Galactica 2004 vibes to me.
That's my wheelhouse.
Yeah, it looks great. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where you're based out of London?
Sort of, yeah. I'm about 50 minutes away from London on the train.
Right.
So I'm in a nice kind of countryside area, but still have one foot in the city.
Hell yeah.
It's also not London rent here, so that's a bonus.
That's kind of seems to be the theme I'm noticing about a lot of people who are into cyberpunk is we start out in rural areas or semi-rural areas, and then we kind of upgrade to the city, and then we're blown away by the technology, and that just becomes our thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think I just like having the best of both. That I can go for a nice walk. I was going to say a nice sunny walk, but on England, and still have all the cool stuff going on in the capital.
Yeah.
In honor of this recording, it's raining like hell outside. So it's
Where you are, anyways, but
right.
We don't get a whole lot of sun here either in Youngstown. So, but
Nah.
I mean, let's be real. How many places are going to get a whole lot of sunshine in the future? It seems like it's really turning Blade Runner-y out there.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, I guess
More and more rain.
I think it's more grey drizzle than the cool neon vibe of the rain.
And then you find out we're running out of neon. It's like, God damn it. What are you doing?
We still got the LEDs.
Yeah.
So.
That's going to be great. I remember there was that one meme that went around. It was the billboard on a foggy night that was rebooting. So it was like a Windows reboot screen floating in nothingness.
Man, I will always be haunted by that image of the dragon building. I think it's in Shanghai with a woman on it. It just looks straight up like a screenshot. It looks exactly like the geisha ad from Blade Runner.
Mm.
I've seen a similar one with a video of a sunrise in the middle of a polluted Chinese city.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh man, the forest fires, like the Canadian forest fires that happened last year. We got some really dystopian weather effects from that. We have fire weather now. Oh, it's great.
Don't you love this future we live in?
Oh man.
Air weather warnings, thunder, snow. It's all fucked up.
Well, yeah, that's a great transition, actually. So, how exactly did the cyberpunk mind virus infect you, Andrew? Like, what got you into the genre?
I love the way you phrased that. I guess I have to go way back. I mean, I was into sci-fi since I was very young, kind of watching stuff like Doctor Who from 9 years old and going
Right
from
on.
there, and kept expanding on, general sci-fi, the accessible sci-fi, Star Wars, and
Oh, absolutely. Star Wars was my drug of choice.
yeah, it's a great gateway.
Oh yeah.
So
God, I think it was 2. I saw that in a theater. It was like in rapid succession. It was like that, fucking The Black Hole, and like Tron, all just, and also The Fox and the Hound. Just should not have seen that at the page.
one of those isn't like the others.
Yeah.
But I think specifically with Cyberpunk, it was probably through video gaming at first, playing Deus Ex on the 360 Human Revolution.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I remember I played that before I even realized that Cyberpunk was a thing.
Yeah.
Back in like 2013, I think, a couple years after it was released, and I was blown away. I thought this was. I still think it's like the best game that I've ever played. I'm not going to say the best game of all time because that does not exist, but
It is a masterpiece.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Games like that, Mirror's Edge, and then of course, I also realized like, oh, hey, this is a whole kind of subgenre in itself. So, watched Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell around that time, kind of my mid-teens. That's when I was starting to really get into film, and less so kind of filmmaking, but just storytelling and cyberpunk, sci-fi. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so what are some modern influences that you have then on cyber? Well, what informs your filmmaking today?
Or even like, what are you pushing against?
Yeah.
At the same time when you see something pop up, not to talk shit about another work, but like, like there are certain things that you see it and you're just like, that ain't it,
Oh yeah. Well,
it's
for me,
somebody, but it's not me, like that's legit.
Yeah, I think, well, if we're talking cyberpunk specifically, it's a difficult genre because there's so much we love about it. A lot of what we do love about it is the tropes and the kind of the surface level kind of aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't, the general vibe hasn't changed much since the 80s, since Blade Runner. So I'm always trying to see what other areas you can take that genre to that feel more current and kind of up to date, rather than it feeling like retro futurism.
Yeah. Well, I would argue yes and no to that point, because I mean, there is a certain aspect of retro futurism. I think that every new generation of cyberpunk creator is trying to do something a little bit new with it. I mean, like Cyberpunk 2077 looks modern to me.
I think I get what he's saying, because I mean, there's a way to do tropes that's entertaining and it's fun, and it can make for a really a good time and still do something poignant. I'm of course struggling to think of one off the top of my head right now as I have this thought, but like there's also that idea of pushing, because what we've seen so far has been like you said, it's the tropey stuff, it's the trench coat, rain, slicked, neon, fog, all of that. And then you get something like Jackrabbit, which is like wildly different.
Or like you mentioned, Mirror's Edge, which, it takes that, and not only is it like, it's not, you still have the neon, but everything's so bright and pretty. And I think that in Cyberpunk, there was sort of a trend that it was skewing towards for a minute, that it kind of took the tropes and put them into at least a cleaner looking future, if not like.
And you've got the surveillance element.
Yeah, and it's not even. It's really mundane science fiction if you think about it, because it's all stuff that exists today.
Hereditary is to Deus Ex as Mirror's Edge is to Midsommar.
Wow,
huh?
I like that.
That's a good comparison, I think.
That's good.
Yeah.
Apologies
if you hear the dogs in the background, by the way.
I'll apologise in advance as well. I've had him for a couple of months and he's vocal.
Yeah, we have to take care of our electric dogs.
Yeah, I've heard they're expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, man.
I mean, when I'm thinking of recent kind of films that have really nailed something new, I'm thinking like Upgrade. And
Yeah.
recently I thought was really interesting.
Which one?
The Creator.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, we did talk about that one, and I'm still kind of blown away by that one a little bit. I really appreciate how it tackles the tropes in a way, because you know you see like it's not appropriative the way that a lot of cyberpunk tends to be with Asian culture.
Mm.
At least it not on. I've only seen it once, so I mean, maybe if I watched it again, I would see more problems with it. But you know,
No, I think that's a good example of, you know, the trope of like the Asian visuals and aesthetic. Instead of it being window dressing, like that is now part of the story, and it's all as a whole. And that's the kind of angle I think. Just taking a step back, really interrogating why, you know, why is this part of the world, and are we doing anything more with it than just having it look cool?
Yeah,
as well as having it look cool.
Yeah.
I thought that film visually, like I have, you know, I could nitpick, but visually it was just, it had such a clear through line. Everything made sense.
Oh, it's stunning.
Yeah. The vistas, some of the like wide, long distance shots, you know, were just,
I mean, Gareth Edwards is just the master at scale, like in Rogue One and things like Godzilla. And also the
monsters.
amazing thing about that film is that he shot it on a really cheap camera, like $1,000 camera instead of a £50,000 one.
Yeah,
because he knows what he wants to shoot, and he comes from a VFX background. So, like a lot of filmmakers who kind of work it out in post, he's got the vision from the beginning.
You know, also, I think that goes toe to toe with Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
Because I still can't believe that was only 13 mil.
Oh, yeah.
That's really the greatest achievement of both those movies, I think, is showing that, you can make a movie that looks fantastic. In fact, you know, both of those movies look better, in my opinion, than anything that Disney and Marvel have put out in a decade.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, you can throw as many colors at us as you want, but it still just looks like, I don't know, it's not convincing.
Yeah, and again, I think that comes down to too many voices involved in something like Marvel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Meddle with until the very last minute, and, you know, it's not a vision of a director for most of them, apart from something like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is very much a James Gunn film and feels like you can tell when it's been thought out and planned. And
well, the woman who made Nomadland, which is one of my favorite kind of really like near apocalyptic kind of pre-cyberpunk, you know, it's like one of the time between movies. She went on to do, I feel terrible, I can't remember her name. She did the Eternals. And
Chloe Zhao.
Thank you. Yes. Nomadland is brilliant. Like it's beautiful. It's so affecting and specific what it's trying to do, and it succeeds.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I heard some talk that when the Eternals came up, she was given like 65 or something % of the movie was all previs.
Well, I mean, oh man.
And it was like left to her to fill in the gaps.
Yeah. Well,
and then
part of that too is, well, like, you can reel that back to like, who's the director of Eon Flux, the Charlize Theron, the live action one.
Oh, I can't remember who did that.
It's the same conundrum, but the director of that did a film called Girl Fight before, and that was critically received very well.
Yeah.
And then you get Eon Flux, and that's just
it's directing by committee. Like see, Andrew, this is what I really like about what you're doing is that you're writing it, filming it, editing it. Like you're in the trench, you know how it's going to look from beginning to end. You have and you have to adapt in the moment. Like there's something about, you know, some auteurs, you know, like they don't quite. I like Wes Anderson, fine. I'm good though, you know. I'm good. I need a break, guy. Like you got to do something. Yeah. Give me something different, please.
Yeah,
but I mean, I've heard that The Wonderful World of Henry Sugar is a little bit more cynical than his
Oh
other
no,
films.
his Fantastic Mr. Fox stop motion thing is stunning. It's he makes great movies. I love his stuff, but it's just like I need something else right now. But
we need something different than like French New Wave.
Yeah, I mean, I did like Isle of Dogs a lot, and I think his animated stuff I enjoy. Less so the live action. I'd be crucified by my old student buddies at studying film. But honestly, I like Up to the Grand Budapest Hotel, and then since it seemed a bit.
That's kind of No, I think I got to the train one.
I think Grand Budapest Hotel was my favorite film or at least the last film that I really enjoyed. I did like Isle of Dogs, but I thought Grand Budapest Hotel is.
I mean, I love Rushmore, but I'm a Steve Zissou guy.
I actually, I prefer Rushmore actually. Myself,
like Bill Murray's such a dick in that movie. It's great. It's so fucking good.
I mean, I think he is a great example of having a clear voice. I mean, I don't agree too much with Auteur Theory, though he is clearly, having his own style. But there's so many people that come together. I don't
like the term auteur. You know what I mean? I know people like to throw it around, and it's like, they have a very singular vision. Well, some of these auteurs needed somebody around to tell them no. I saw the prequels to Star Wars.
Yeah.
George Lucas is the peak auteur.
Oh man.
Anyways, but yeah, reeling back the question though. So you clearly have a very clear vision with your films, your short films, and we were wondering. Actually, this is more a little bit from less from Zero. Zero threw a couple questions in here, but he was wondering what the creative process kind of looks like for you as compared to these big budget films. Like what kind of freedom do you get to enjoy through basically working with a lower budget, but also what are some of the constraints and challenges that you have to face as well?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is complete freedom because I'm the producer, the writer, the director, the editor. So I'm kind of overseeing it from beginning to end as much as I would like somebody else to produce. I mean, I co-produced the Edenbound and that was great. Yeah. It just allowed me a bit more headspace to focus on making the film and the creative side.
Good.
I think what I've realized though, I mean, I've been on some quite big sets and expensive sets and they don't look any different or feel any different to my lower budget short.
Right.
A film set is kind of constantly chaotic and somebody will need a DIY solution of some duct tape.
Oh yeah,
just as much as on a small film and a big film. So I think obviously I don't have to answer to anyone in demanding changes or anything like that. It's entirely kind of my vision and what I like to do, and until the point where I can sell out for a few million, I'll keep that control. But yeah, I mean, the biggest restraint, as always, is budget, and the fact that kind of on an independent level, you have to wear so many hats of the logistics, the marketing, because I did the Kickstarter for First Sight.
Yeah.
And you have to really sell yourself and the idea, none of which I'm passionate about. It's just all a means to an end. Kind of making this film. So yeah, I mean, there's something nice about not having to wait for permission to make it. Just go out and do it, which is something I've always kind of encouraged. But I mean, the crew that I've worked with for the last few films, it's kind of pretty much the same heads of department on each one now, and I found that core team.
Hell yeah,
works. And I never have to worry about anything in the art department or the director of photography, Miguel. He's a genius with light, so I know it will always look great. That really does take a lot of pressure off it, having those, they're friends as well as kind of co-creatives. I mean, aside from the restrictions of just time and money, I mean, when it comes to time, we have 2 or 3 days to shoot a 15-minute film. I can't afford to be making any big wild choices on the day. I have to plan everything in advance, shot by shot, which I'm quite a fan of doing.
Right.
Then I can show a storyboard and everybody knows what page we're on, and also we get straight into the action. We don't have to waste any valuable time finding it on the
Well,
disc.
I also like, based on what I've read, I don't know how much of this is based in reality, but it seems like with a smaller budget, you have to come up with more creative solutions as well to get the desired effect through your filmmaking.
Definitely. Yeah.
And,
And it's quite good to be able to, well, it's good to have those.
yeah, well, that's important. I think it's important to the creative process, but
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to think outside the box, and you can't just rely on throwing more money at something.
yeah,
Right.
I
About 15 years ago or so, I went back to college like in my 30s, and that was weird because like all these kids, right? And through a friend of a friend, I got put into like 2 little student films. So I actually I did it because I was interested. I was like, wow, how is a film made? I had no desire to act, and I had to act in both of them. And the second of them, I had to play a competitive hot dog eater, and it sucked, man. It was like that day, the day of the thing, I have to throw up, and I decided to just go ahead and Joaquin Phoenix that shit. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to actually do it. And
well, I mean, that's more real. It's more authentic to see that.
It was, and you should have seen the look of horror in the director's eyes when I told him.
On the set.
I'm like, hey, I should do this for real. And I just like mash these soggy bunned hot dogs in, like 7 or 8 of them. And then I like run outside and hit the ground while this kid in a hot dog suit's dancing next to me, and I just like blew chunks. And it was perfect. It was actually probably that's why I'll never act again, because I'm chasing that high.
You'll never outdo that performance.
I'll never beat that.
Wow.
Well, and I get the sense that, it's probably really exhilarating to be able to come up with those creative solutions instead of always having to rely on just, we'll fix this in post,
Sure seemed like it would have been.
I mean, CGI vomit could have done the job, but it wouldn't have looked nearly as good.
God, if we'd only had that in the like mid-aughts,
But also the thing about fixing in post is, well, for now, I know that I'm going to be the one tackling it in post anyway. So I can, if I say it, I know that Andrew can deal with it. If anybody else says it, and it's like, you can fix that in post, can't you? Then that's what I'll be like.
Oh man, that just reminds me of this beer I tried recently called Future You Hates You.
Love that.
I heard the term recently for procrastination, delegating to your future self.
Yep.
I like that.
Oh, that's so rough. I mean, it takes. I don't think a lot of folks understand like the amount of intensity and energy it like takes to make any film in general, but like certainly something where you've dialed down to the budgets of something like Blue Ruin, for example, or which is one of my all time favorite fucking revenge movies. Period. Like full stop. And that thing was filmed for like $3,000 or like $30,000 maybe tops. And I mean the practical effects are just jaw dropping. Yeah. It looks like someone has had their jaw taken off with a gun, kind of stuff. Like, how did you do this?
Yeah, you find a way. To quote Jeff Goldblum, filmmakers find a way.
Right.
Last time we talked for the interview, which shameless plug. Go check it out on the archive. We do have an interview with Andrew from back in like 2022, I think, like summer of 2022 for Venus. I remember when I was talking to you, you were saying something about you wanted to turn Venus into a feature-length film. Mm-hmm. Do you still have plans for that? Do you still have ambitions to do like a feature film for anything?
I do. Well, the script is written. I've had the script, the feature length written for a while now.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
But then I realized that no matter how I approach it, it's just not feasible as a debut film.
Mm-hmm.
The scope of it is just a bit too big, a bit too ambitious.
Gotcha.
And generally with like the first feature film, you kind of want to save that for your second. one.
Yeah, that's
When
fair.
you can-
That's
you
fair.
can make it. So yeah, it's still absolutely my hope and plan at some point. And
Yeah, to make
in
that
fact,
real
even down
someday.
with First Sight are the last short films I'll be doing.
Okay.
Then I do have a more easily achievable feature film
Oh, that's awesome.
story. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Do you are you able to talk about that at all, or are there like
Well,
NDAs involved?
I haven't put much pen to paper yet. It's kind of all a jumble in my head.
Work in
But I can
progress.
say it is sci-fi,
Nice.
but it's very near future, and it's about teleportation.
Ooh.
And
nice.
the idea of using that technology to explore how we change as people over time, and that concept of like, are you the same person who steps out as steps in?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I like
Does have
that.
a big theme of like an Amazon style corporation buying this technology just to use for their delivery stuff.
I'll tell you
love
what, when we get done recording this, I have an idea for you. You can just have it.
Oh, hit me. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
It's been sitting in my head for 15 years now, and I don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Okay.
So anyway, remind me after we're done.
I love that. I do want to go back to Venus a little bit too and talk about that. And First Sight. First of all, I like that little. So you sent us some promo images and a clip from First Sight, which is about smart contact lenses, and a woman who's using that for a dating service. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Well, and there's a short clip, like a 20-second clip of this woman after she puts the contact lens in, and it's a revolving shot. And I didn't notice this the first time, but then I rewatched it and I was like, wait a second, you did something really, really clever there. So she's looking in the mirror and it's a revolving shot, but then the camera goes through the mirror. This is like some the Raid shit, like the Raid 2 shit, where the camera goes through the mirror and it revolves like 360 degrees around her.
Mm.
How did you manage to do that? Is that? Am I allowed to ask that question?
Yeah, you're allowed to ask. We called that the impossible shot. On the shoot.
Nailed it.
Because so much work went into that. I had a kind of secondary objective as I was making the film, or even when I wrote the script and I was getting Miguel the DP on board. I said, okay, I've also, on top of all this, I don't want this to be too easy because I've got to stay ambitious. I thought I want to pull off the ultimate mirror shot. So by that I mean there's a lot of famous mirror shots in film. One that comes to mind is La N, where we kind of go through the mirror. There's one in what was that Zack Snyder film? Sucker Punch, where we go through.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go all out. I wanted to use every trick in the book of using a body double, an invisible cut, a movement set, and actual reflection. All of which we did do. So the Georgia production designer. Actually, I mean, I like to ask how you guys think it was done.
Oh man,
You're right.
I'm stumped. That's why I bring it up,
man. It's all CG. No, I don't know. Like, because I was thinking, like, Everything Everywhere All at Once has one that kind of baffles the fucking mind. It like just goes straight in and through, and then you like immediately at the beginning of the movie, you're not sure where you're starting.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Like, the way Terminator, they just use twins.
Wow.
Today I learned Sarah Connor has a twin sister.
Oh shit.
Like, what? Okay.
I would assume that if you're going to do this in a fairly low budget way, my guess would be a body double, pane of glass, and then it's a set built to look like the bathroom reflected through a mirror, and then you have like a part of the wall that you pull away where the mirror is, and then you kind of move the camera through that. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
You're pretty much spot on. So we actually start on like a close up of her face and use the actual reflection. As we go behind her head is an invisible cut, and then we're behind the body double's head. and then the actress is in front of us, and we've got the set behind her, the bathroom we've been using, and the mirror opens up on a hinge. So now there's no mirror between them, but we've got the body double wearing the same thing with the same kind of haircut. And then we push over her shoulder. And then as we come back to face the mirror, we close that hinge again. So we're facing the real reflection.
Damn.
Well done. That was seamless. It was
Thank you.
a beautiful shot.
It was a headache. We were getting ourselves like, what? Wait, wouldn't it be reflected this side? What are we doing? God, so much went into that kind of 20 seconds. But I think I think it all paid off, and it's nice to see when every department kind of comes together like that to pull off something.
I'd rather see that than like a fucking just noisy space battle with thousands of CGI'd ships. You know what I mean?
There's a way to do it. You know, I thought Dune recently did that kind of thing really well, because you can see, you've got space, it's epic, and it's not just noise.
Denny makes a damn good film.
He does.
Yeah.
This cat's been on a tear.
Yeah.
We went and saw The Arrival in theaters. And at the scene where like the school gets interrupted with the fire alarm in the theater actually went off. And I was like, is this 4D?
Pretty immersive.
Yeah. And then the lights came up and we all had to leave. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. It couldn't have been more perfectly timed though. But no, the films, he's just got this vision, this distance, his ability for, scale and scope where it doesn't look shitty like 99% of these things. Yeah. It's the Theodore Sturgeon thing though. 90% of everything's crap. It's that 10% that you're like living for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I like some really bad things. Like I'm just a fan of them. Can't explain it. Don't need to, like it's fine. But I love it when I see, like that mirror shot that, these small focused, limited resource magic that is just as mind blowing, if not more so, because of the level of difficulty in the attempt. That's my brain don't work like that. Yeah, my brain don't work good.
I do have a mind for visuals, but the technical process sometimes it's difficult to wrap my head around. That's a gift. It's a gift you've got.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'll say that I have the broad picture in my brain, but when it comes to like actual focal length and lighting and things, that's where I kind of hand the reins.
That's where you need to have
that's where the
other people on board with you.
Making a picture.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about Venus and First Sight. Well, let's start with the Edenbound, because I'm curious about. I don't know what the summary or the synopsis of that one is so much, but I'm curious because like I said, it's got big Battlestar Galactica vibes. I'm looking forward to seeing that when that comes out.
Thank you. Yeah. So the Edenbound, it's about a planetary war between a planet and its moon.
Okay.
So we set that up at the very beginning, and then our main character, the pilot, on her first mission, crashes onto the enemy moon during an assignment into territory. And from there, she's in position of having to make a big moral decision, which won't go too much into. But it's kind of, sorry, that's my opinion as well. Hey.
Oh.
Who are you talking to there, bro?
The door's just gone.
Oh.
It's all right. Okay. Come. Good boy. So sorry, completely.
It's all good.
Threw me off. She's facing this big moral dilemma, which is big life and death stakes, kind of planetary annihilation kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We shot that in a virtual production studio, Mandalorian style volume technology.
Yeah, what was that like?
Oh, amazing! It was my first time using that tech, so I was like a kid with a new toy.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
I like that.
But we built a cockpit set. So same production designer who did the amazing mirror stuff and production design in First Sight built this amazingly detailed kind of almost like rustic lo-fi spaceship interior.
Yeah.
So we had that in front of our giant virtual screen. So when she's in space, like there's a space battle sequence and you've got explosions coming at her and the stars and things, it just looks incredible because all that light is bouncing off our real set, which we made a bit reflective deliberately, which you wouldn't have got with green screen.
Right. Well, that makes it so much more immersive than green screen, because you can interact with, or your actors will be able to interact with certain things that are coming at them in real time. If I'm reading this correctly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you sit in that spaceship. I mean, I sat in it when there was a star field kind of moving to the side, and I almost got a little bit dizzy because it was like we were actually moving.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, and for I guess for our listeners who don't know, this whole it's basically like a moving background, whereas we used to use like matte paintings and backdrops. This is like actually moving stuff.
It's like a high definition screen, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can change stuff on the fly because it really it's just another monitor basically from your setup. So if you're in After Effects and want to add another explosion or change positioning of something, you can just do it immediately.
How does that interact with the actual filmmaking? Is there like
to be honest,
do you have to like place the screen far enough back so that if you shoot something at a different angle, like it'll still look the same, or how does that work?
I mean, you can actually get quite close to the screen before you start to get any kind of obvious gaps or moire going on. I think about 1 or 2 meters is as close as you can go. So, I mean, we have it quite fast, so we can use the full height of it as well. I mean, but there's not an awful lot of kind of rethinking how we're filming. Just like logistical things of if we're filming front on through our cockpit window, then we want to move to the side window. Obviously, we have to kind of rotate the set 90 degrees. But yeah, I mean, you're really just thinking, how do we blend this foreground and background nicely? We had another location which was a giant hangar that they're looking over onto this kind of spaceport with a ship coming out of the ground. And we had 2 railings as like a walkway and some practical drums and bits, and then the actors, and then the whole wall behind them. And just having that layers, the layer of detail is what we realized was key to kind of pulling off the illusion.
Yeah,
that's awesome,
man. I really like that.
I'm so
like, how much does that cost as compared to, like, say, green screen and post production?
Well,
or even building practical sets?
Because this is pre-production at this point.
And I know. Yeah, that was the strange thing that go into this. The VFX comes in pre-production instead of post, and now I've got all the rushes in my drive, which are pretty much good to go. There's no VFX that's needed. Still loads needed on First Sight, so it's kind of weird that the big space epic is the one that doesn't need any post.
I love that.
Yeah, in terms of it's kind of hard to say for cost because. I mean, if you were to do it all in post with green screen, then you're putting a lot of time into that, and that will get expensive. Maybe you can get a bit of discount if you're kind of getting favors and doing it in between other stuff. I mean, we had the really lucky opportunity to work with Cube Studio, who are based just outside of London in Maidenhead, and they kind of collaborated with us on this because it sort of they wanted to use their technology for something cool and exciting, and right
on. No, that's a pretty good deal.
Oh, it was amazing. The value we got was in the tens of thousands. So it's not exactly openly accessible at this point for kind of independent filmmakers, without the kind of getting to know people and collaboration. But so many of these studios have popped up in the last couple of years. I mean, before it was just Disney having their own, and then that was it. But since then, It's
Mhm.
way cheaper, way more accessible. So I think give it a bit of time, and it will definitely be a realistic option.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing that transform the way that films are made in the future.
Me too. Yeah.
So-
And it's so exciting. And as you say, it's much more immersive than green screen. And also, I think the thing that might put the big studios off this technology is that you have to make the decisions up front on set. You can't change it in post.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to commit to the vision, which I think is great. But I know that would make a lot of execs anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're used to tweaking the endings in the old ways and shit, and it's like
full reshoots and shit like that.
Exactly.
Oh man. So yeah, going back to First Sight, then you now that I'm mentioning it, like with your science fiction films, you seem to be you have a focus on having women as your protagonists. So I don't know. I guess I don't know what the question is.
What's up with that? No, I don't. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
I think that it definitely started with Venus. That partly I thought cyberpunk is quite a male-dominated genre. I feel in films we get in TV shows. I mean, of course, there's some major exceptions.
Yeah, of course.
Like Ghost in the Shell.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I got it. But it's not for my clown horn. I can't find it.
You got your sound effect board somewhere. But yeah, I kind of wanted to see that world through a female perspective. And it was also looking at ideas of autonomy and the body, and for a genre that's so much about the body and modifications of it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of kind of objectification. Typically, I just thought that was kind of an interesting angle to take, going back to that idea of what can you do a bit differently with cyberpunk. And since then, I think I have a leaning towards female protagonists, and I don't know if it's just because, especially in sci-fi, it is quite still, even outside of cyberpunk, quite male-driven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, even in cyberpunk, or at least when we're talking about mainstream cyberpunk, it's still very male-dominated. I think that is changing. We are seeing more female creators stepping forward and presenting their own takes on cyberpunk, which I really I like. I want that to keep being a theme.
Totally. Yeah, I think we need the new voices to explore new ideas and.
We're all burned out on that whole like grizzled XPI with the robot hand who's like somehow still wearing a 1940s era fucking trench coat and fedora. And it's always raining on him and he's miserable. And he don't like nothing. It's like, there's a bunch of other shit here, like.
Well, it's like it's like appropriation of, Eastern Asian culture in cyberpunk as well. We see the trope of the female body being like commoditized and over sexualized, but we don't have enough of. But you do it so much over time, and just from white male perspectives that you come to like it. It blurs together into this kind of like slurry of just we don't really have much new to say about it. A lot of the time, anyways. But I will say, Venus definitely does take that and gives focus to it, first of all, and kind of turns that trope on its head, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it basically launches like as a mother-daughter story.
Yeah.
And it's a very real passing of the torch in an instant, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Check out the movie, y'all. Just pause the podcast, go to Dust, type in Venus on YouTube, and then just check it out. It's dope.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
come back, and then
there's a reason why, like Dust, like you do know that's like the header image for their cyberpunk collection on Dust, correct?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a screenshot of Iris's character after she gets out of the simulation. she's like drenched in that red neon. It's such a good shot. But yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I noticed they've got a volume of Cyberpunk stuff now that Venus is part of.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and shout out to whoever did like the way that like Ladybug turned into particles and all that. Shout out.
Yeah, that was a great VFX studio called Lucid, who's actually doing some stuff on the Edenbound.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, just to jump back to First Sight on the kind of female protagonist as well. That I mean, that idea of kind of female autonomy and kind of perspective wasn't nearly essential to the story in this one, but it's quite like a sensitive story about loss and grief, and it just immediately it felt right, basically. And also, I think as another white male first world filmmaker, you know, nice to not have to lean on the expected.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and shoot, I was going to say something about that, but I mean it. And, you know, not to draw comparisons again, but yeah, it does. I guess it does say it right on your website that it's Black Mirror-esque.
Very much. Yeah.
But I do appreciate that. And, well, I suppose going back to what you were saying about the new, like, giving Cyberpunk a breath of fresh air, I think Black Mirror has definitely done more to do that. Well, done more for that.
Oh yeah, that and what's that other one? Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah. I think that Black Mirror definitely has updated the sort of the visuals of Cyberpunk, or at least post Cyberpunk, if we're gonna split hairs. But I think not just the like the visuals, but the storytelling format. I always thought, like when I watched the first two series of that show, I thought that that was kind of a return in a way to the typical dystopian plot format, you know, where there's someone who's immersed in the system and then he slowly wakes up to how messed up everything really is. And I get the sense that this is probably going to be along the same lines.
Well, this idea, like we even did a story, I can't remember how far back, about like the subscription running out on cybernetic eyes, like as a real story, like a real thing happened. This person, I
didn't even know that cybernetic eyes were a real thing.
And that company went out of business, and the thing just wouldn't update, and they went blind on the bus.
Yeah, jeez.
And it's like
that's so dystopian.
Yeah.
And it's not even like that recent, you know, like this is a minute ago. This is like some years ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm watching all this footage of like, the Neuralink kid stayed up all night playing Civ 6. And I'm like, I'm going to need proof, man. Like, because I know about the monkeys, you know, like I need to know something else. Because we've been moving cursors with our mind for 20, 30 years now.
Yeah.
Like that's not even new. And just this idea that like, oh man, I'm sorry, I'm about to tangent. So there's so many fucking conspiracy theories, right? About how like if you get like a vaccine, it's going to put a chip in you. And then these same motherfuckers root for Elon Musk. Put a chip in it.
The last person I would want to put a bit of tech in my brain.
Yeah, this fucking idiot thinks that he can just he's not even using good ideas that already exist that are not unpatented. It's like, we need to reinvent the rocket.
Yeah.
Right.
Why?
Let's make them blow up a bunch for like $3 billion a pop.
And completely ruin our fucking atmosphere. You know, do you realize that SpaceX and Blue Origin, their rocket testing creates more CO2 emissions than all of the cars in Europe combined?
Cool. Good job.
Good job.
Yeah. So great.
Well, you can't forget he's revolutionized the truck as well. The unreliable in the past.
With their own recipe of stainless steel that rusts. Oh man, that's a great feature.
I've been following. I mean, I haven't. I got myself off Twitter when it all went down.
Same.
I'll see like
cheers
murmurs of what's been going on with the Cybertruck and all the downfalls. It's just hilarious. It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
Every day is another story. Every fucking day. The one where it crashed into the Beverly Hills Hotel sign was just chef's kiss. Like, I couldn't. Is this Schadenfreude? Is that what this is?
With that much money, how do you mess that up?
Oh man.
Man, how indeed. You just well, if you're an egomaniac and you decide that you have to make all the decisions yourself, even though you're not fucking Tony Stark.
Well, here, let me ask this question: has there ever been like,
even Tony Stark's an asshole? Come on.
Well, like, has there ever been a villain in, say, Cyberpunk or even like Lex Luthor level kind of shit that has just not been the super villain? You know what I mean? Like, the guy, he just sued to become a founder for a bunch of companies. Like Tesla existed before him.
It's just been
all this stuff.
Yeah.
Somehow, because he's a con man. But like, has there been like a fictional villain like this? Because I'm like struggling to imagine like a villain this just incompetent, like ineffective, who actually. Like his superpower is keeping us from having high-speed rail. That's literally the only thing he does.
Oh man, the fucking Hyperloop. Oh god.
I think we'd read it or read that story or that character or watch it and then just think, nah, this is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
With that much power.
I mean,
it's a Nick Cave song. We call upon the author. Like, it's like, who's writing this shit?
You do make a really good point, CoinOps, that Cyberpunk really likes to kind of glorify, in a way, their rich antagonists, their 1% attack.
It's a
0.01 antagonists.
It's always a given that these things are monolithic powerhouses. Yeah. And then we have one. We have the richest man in the world. In our lifetime, we've seen him.
Well, and then there was another point.
We get this guy tweeting like fart jokes on Twitter.
Yeah, and then Eyeball actually made a good point the other day. We like to talk about these monolithic corporations that are going to last forever, apparently, and it's gonna. The hacker has to fight against them. The rebellious characters, the punks have to rise up against this monolithic fascistic corporation. But in real life, that's not how it works, because what we're seeing right now with so many corporations like fucking Warner Brothers and what else, like Vice, right? Everything,
Vice.
Everything is
Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, everything's getting gutted. All these corporations, all these companies that have been kind of mainstays of the American economy for a long time are being gutted just for short-term profits, because these.
Well, there's another question. Can you envision like a more perfect example of like just to disprove like that myth that like rich equals smart? Yeah. Because we have nothing but these financial guys in charge of tech companies, and all they know how to do is reduce, fire.
Yeah, make numbers go up,
and then like sell the IP to another. And the cycle repeats again.
Yeah, I mean, these people are, well, it doesn't seem the case with Elon, but these people are good at manipulation and talking to people, like somebody like Trump as well. He's not a smart person, but he knows how to get people on side.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, he has been, but it seems like that's kind of, I hope that's going downhill.
I would hope so.
Yeah. He can't get any. He can't get enough money to pay off his debts at this point.
It's quite.
I think he's cashed in.
It's like they gave him another 10 days, and this is what I call edging, because it's like I was ready for them to take the tower on that Monday, and now they're just like, oh, we gave him another 10 days and knocked a chunk off, and I'm like, hey, asshole, I just delivered $5 to KFC, the Human Rights Watch headquarters, the other day. Made $5 on that, and it cost me $100 parking ticket. So I don't want to fucking. How about reducing that? How about knocking that down?
That's a good start to a story. Like, that's the breaking point for the character.
Oh, yeah, totally. That's your falling down moment.
Yeah. There seem to be some blind spots in Cyberpunk. Like, well, Cyberpunk does touch on like augmented reality, but not quite as much as how involved it is in our lives as we experience it, because I think a lot of it is, well, it's metaphor.
Yeah. I always think of the cigarette dispenser in The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
How it's like 75% filter, and it tells you that it's going to kill you if you smoke it, but it gives you the, anyway. It's such a perfect encapsulation of everything.
Things are changing so much in technology in the real world that suddenly there are possibilities that we didn't even consider, like just based on where we are now, that, in the last few decades were just kind of speculative.
Well, I mean, that's kind of going back to what I was saying before about how there was a sort of movement in cyberpunk to make things a little bit fresher for a little bit. I would say around 2000 to like maybe 2000, to pretty much the Trump or the 2016 election. There was a period of time where at least they were trying to make a return to the visuals of, or like a sort of a new utopian vision, but it's still like everything still kind of fucking sucks in the future.
I think I didn't finish it, but I thought Westworld did a good job of just a visually.
Yeah.
I thought it did some very interesting and stunning things.
Remember Me.
I don't know anybody else who finished Westworld. I watched it to the end, and literally I've not come across anybody in my circles of friends and sci-fi nerds who watched the very last episode.
Oh,
I'm telling you, more people have read Finnegan's Wake. And it's like, it's weird the way they like just cancel shit. You say every time I hear the words Warner Brothers, it used to be like, man, it had the fun stuff. It had like Animaniacs and shit, and like a bunch of
HBO. Man, HBO was a fucking powerhouse for a long time.
The Matrix, like you brought the Matrix to being, and all like Warner Brothers had a moment, back then that was just, they were on fucking fire, could do no wrong, and then this dipshit from like House Flippers Anonymous shows up and decides to just like, I'm going to cancel Perry Mason. You don't understand. I'm going to complain about this every episode. Perry Mason was fucking incredible, and shit canned it just as it was like, oh, this next season is going to be awesome. And then 5 days later, I was like, why would you do that? This is a whole nother tangent that we don't need to do right now.
I mean, I could rant as well. The way they've just been cancelling finished films.
Oh, I want to see that Coyote Acme shit. I'm sorry. I've been waiting 20 some years for that.
Right, and that was Lord Miller behind it as well, like proven filmmakers with an amazing track record.
Listen, if we have hacker friends listening to this, please get us a copy of Wile E. Coyote versus Acme.
Yeah, because put that on the high seas. I need to see that.
That's how Deadpool came into being. Was supposedly definitely not Ryan Reynolds putting the concept online and then making a massive buzz to the point that they couldn't not make the film.
Yeah. There was that like 7-minute scene, I think, that I remember circulating around, and then boom, obviously. I'm glad I can't think of another instance where they like fucked a character up so badly you figured you'd never see it in cinema again, and then boom, the right thing happens with the exact same actor somehow. Like, bravo, well done, sir.
Yeah.
Maybe I will look into Mint Mobile. I don't know.
Oh man. But anyways, God, that was quite a tangent.
It's fine. We're allowed.
Oh, absolutely. But reeling back though, like well, I guess this would be a good place to transition to. We talk a lot about, like, we hate the way that remakes are done in Hollywood. Yes. It's really stupid. Like the fucking Roadhouse. Like, I haven't seen it, but the Roadhouse remake.
Paper
dog shit. They're making a Crow remake. That's stupid.
Doug Liman's made some great fucking movies, though. Like, the only reason I would sit down and watch is if, like, say, T wanted to watch it. I'd be like, all right, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
He did Go. He did the one where Tom Cruise dies a whole bunch and there's exoskeletons, whatever.
Live, Die, Repeat,
title.
Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, the one that has like 3 different titles.
Yeah. All I Need Is Kill, whatever.
Or like fucking. We were just talking about this yesterday. Night of the Hunter. They're making a remake of Night of the Hunter from 1946. The
masterpiece.
The one with God. What's his? I always forget his name.
Mitchum.
Yeah, Robert Mitchum. Yeah, it's a fucking great movie. Fantastic movie.
The movie is.
You don't need to remake it because it is really. Oh man,
who do we have today that could pull that off?
Yeah, like I understand that
he did the cowpunch guy in Old Country, No Country for Old Men. He can't do that again. Like you nailed it. We don't have anybody new that's like that. The guy that played it.
What's his name?
Bill Skarsgård.
Well, he's going to be the Crow.
And it's just like, but he's not menacing. Like, especially after the Basement movie. What the fuck was that called? Gladiator?
Barbarian.
Or Barbarian, thank you.
Yeah.
He was great in that.
Yeah.
He was very funny. Like, I liked him. And it was a great left turn what they did with him, your expectations and all that stuff. But it's just like...
Anyways, we hate the way that remakes are done because it's like, it's not theater. Theater has the capacity for you take the same play and you can do it. You can put your own spin on it and make it different. And like I said, Night of the Hunter is, it's like, it would definitely be it's still relevant, and you can introduce it to a new generation, and then they can get things out of it.
But one that really baffles me is the Harry Potter TV remake they plan to do.
Oh, fucking what? Why? God, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
The real kicker, the only thing they shared of it was the title and a logo. The title
part of the reason...
I think is the same, John Williams, and the castle in the background is the same.
That's so dumb. It's such a fucking...
Kids are Harry Potter.
Like, part of the draw in the first place, you said that it's like a lot of the same cast, right?
No,
it's a different cast. Okay.
The only change.
Yeah. Well, but that was part of the draw of the original. I think that's part of the reason why the originals were so popular is because of the cast.
Yeah.
Like, they would always get these huge name actors like Gary Oldman and Ray Fiennes. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much every British actor has been in that and or Game of Thrones.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, yeah, and like Shadowlink was saying, like there's a bunch of these games where it's like, okay, so you have that kind of thing. You have this like side boot stuff that happens where it's just, you don't need it.
Yeah.
I can think of very, very, very few examples where any of those were ever like kind of successful. I think Universal Soldier, when they did that kind of like that modern, more combat sort of like MMA looking one. I can't remember what it's called right now. It was actually really good. The one where like Dolph Lundgren's just a moron the entire time. Like, it's fucking awesome. But like most of these remakes, like I don't like, I know they did. Like, I love the Evil Dead. I didn't see the new ones. I don't care. I'm saving that space for something I haven't seen yet.
Okay, I will make an argument for the Evil Dead remakes.
Okay, look, a couple of them are going to get by me. All right, a couple good ones are probably going to get by me, but for the most part,
I can see what they did there.
I'm looking for something like a Poor Things. Even though I like that director anyway.
Yeah.
It was visually stunning. It was a feast, just to watch.
Yeah.
And it also makes me always bring up The Favorite, which is still probably my favorite movie Lanthimos did. So it's like, and it's not cyberpunk, but who gives a shit?
The guy who did
Killing of a Sacred Deer, The Lobster.
Oh, yeah. The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred... those are both fucking phenomenal movies.
He's fucking awesome. This guy he's nailing it. He's killing it.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to see like a Blade Runner TV show.
Yeah. We are getting.
Oh, here's my problem. It wasn't even that like the prequels pissed me off so much. It's that the new crop of Star Wars stuff made it kind of like Marvel, the way I jumped off kind of right as the plague hit. I'm like, I'm not doing that kind of homework. I'm not going to watch all these TV shows just so that I know why Homeboy picked up this particular cup in this episode.
I was heavily invested in the extended universe, and then they threw that out, and I was like, okay, fuck it.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, of the new stuff, all I liked was kind of like what Rian Johnson tried to bring back. Because my problem was, and I liked Rogue One a lot. I always bring up there was a How It Should Have Ended where they just took Donnie Yen's character, the like blind dude with the fucking the broomstick, and he just fights his way all the way up and kills the Emperor.
Yeah,
and it just ends it. And I was like, that's how it should have ended. 100%. There's no fucking way. but like Ryan Johnson trying to bring the Force back to everyone, and not it's a galaxy far away, not a neighborhood.
I mean, this could be a whole other podcast, but I did love The Last Jedi, and then I've never felt more disappointed leaving the cinema than after The Rise of Skywalker, because it was cowardly.
Why did you put six-legged horses on the deck of a fucking Star Destroyer?
I didn't understand The Last Jedi. Well, I do appreciate it at this point, but like when I watched it,
a few course corrections in there that
was really kind of what I do. I love Ryan Johnson, and I love I love Looper so much, and Brick, and the Brothers Bloom. He is a phenomenal director, and Knives Out.
Yeah, and Knives Out. Yeah.
But a lot of fun. Like that's a person who's they're the height of their powers, they're having a good time.
Yeah.
I thought both of the Knives Out movies were entertaining as hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, like Star Wars and Marvel, it used to be event cinema.
Yeah.
When you've got 5 of them a year plus TV shows, it is just a saturation, and it becomes a special.
Yeah, and there's no growth.
Homework.
There is no growth. It's not changing or being different. That's why I hated The Force Awakens, is because I'm like, I've seen this movie before, and when you watch, I mean, and
Star Trek.
Yeah, and maybe this is me speaking as a millennial. I don't know how it is for the younger generations at this point, but I mean, when I watched even the prequels, I know the prequels have problems with them. They all really have problems with them. But when I watched the original Star Wars movies, like I felt like there was a larger galaxy that needed to be explored, and that's what the expanded universe was for.
Yeah.
And then when I watched The Force Awakens, it just felt like the galaxy is just like 3 planets now.
Well, and here's the status quo. It's the same conflict again.
It's the same 2 families at war with each other. For some reason, now it's the Palpatines versus the Skywalkers. Oh, you could just pick your name. Oh, that kid that pulled the fucking broomstick to his hand in the second movie, that's out. They're not doing that. Somehow he survived. Did you throw something at the screen or the TV when you saw that?
He could barely say that line straight, poor Oscar Isaac.
God love him. You know what? He gets out of that unscathed.
Yeah.
He was underutilized. Finn was underutilized. That was a miss.
I mean, it all comes down to an unwillingness to take risks, because when there's 300 million going into this film, when they made The Force Awakens, they just wanted to get fans back on side. So let's just give them a new hope again and something that's breezy and entertaining. Then they got spooked by the reaction to Last Jedi, so we're going to even say
I blame my reaction to The Last Jedi on the studio fuckery, or the executive fuckery with that film. Because
I can't believe he got away with what he got away with. I mean, frankly, like let's be real. Of all of the Star Wars movies, The Last Jedi actually has, for me, the most stunning shot in any of them. That's when it's the maneuver, man. Just going to light speed right through those ships.
Yeah.
All the sound, all the music, it's a vacuum. There's nothing. And I like a tear. I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, that was good.
That's like up there and number 1 moment in all of Star Wars.
The first time you see the Death Star explode, and then like that.
Yeah.
Also, the Millennium Falcon flying out of the exploding Death Star in Jedi is sick as fuck. I don't know how they did that to this day.
Anyways,
I don't want to know.
This was a long way to ask the question.
What's like an old B movie that didn't get its due, and it deserves
we want to do
a shot.
is because, like I said, theater, you can go back and redo like something that someone else did and put your own spin on it, but you can't really. You can do that with movies, but why? Why would you do that? You already have something committed to celluloid or digital or something, and you don't have to change it. You don't have to be George Lucas going back and changing all this shit.
The worst version of it is Gus Van Sant doing Psycho. That's the absolute on one end of things.
And that's just bizarre. Yeah.
So,
what do you think in back in the day kind of movies?
Yeah, there are movies that definitely do deserve remakes. That like I said, the Evil Dead remakes. They took it in a different direction, and obviously the Evil Dead movies are revered for their own reasons, but they wanted to recreate them and make them actual horror movies instead of like a horror comedy, like a campy kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what would you do? Like, what would you remake if you could, like a movie that has merit to it, but it wasn't quite executed super well for budget reasons or whatever?
Oh, it's a good question. I mean, yeah, because I think that's how remakes should be approached: is let's remake a film that wasn't great the first time instead of remaking great films.
Absolutely.
Oh gosh.
Well, I'll start. Here's one that I've been thinking about a lot. There's a movie from the 80s. It's called Future Kill.
Uh-huh.
And it's about a bunch of frat boys in the dark future, where there is a cyborg stalking the streets, and you think it's supposed to be this slasher film, but it starts off with these really just kind of stupid and misogynistic Animal House antics for like the first act of the movie. Then these guys go to the bad part of town, and all the punks there teach them how to live, how to be real human beings, while they're being chased by this killer cyborg who's just mad at them for some reason. And it's a really bad movie, but it's like you had something there. You really could have gone in a different direction with it, and it would have been really good. And this movie is absolute dog shit. The acting is terrible. The special effects are bad. Like, they got H.R. Geiger to do the poster art.
They conned him into doing the
video. Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's...
and it looks awesome. He looks great.
There's an entire generation of dudes who have rented this VHS tape and been so angry.
Absolutely. And I think that it could be a great slasher film. It really could be. If it was executed in a different manner and with better writing and better acting and better special effects.
And here's a good example of one that like really worked. That modern Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, they did the 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a fantastic.
Well, I mean, same dude did Upgrade and wrote Saw.
Yeah.
You know, but like, Cat's got some chops.
Yeah.
You know, Upgrade ruled. I had so much fun watching that movie. And then
a really good one.
This one actually bothered me. It was
such a smart twist, like the whole sort of domestic horror angle.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it was so fucking timely too. And see, that's the argument that you can make for it. That it's making something for a new generation to kind of bring forth the themes.
Yeah.
And especially in the wake of, the Me Too movement, The Invisible Man was very timely.
It was like lightning. Like it really did hit. And that was well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I've come up with a couple.
Okay, let's go.
So they have the same word, the Running Man and Logan's Run.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what?
I would love to see a remake of Logan's Run.
A remake of Logan's Run would be fantastic. And I do, you know what? I also agree. I think, like, The Running Man is pretty good, but I feel like...
Oh, it has tons of moments.
Oh, yeah.
But, like...
I feel like in a Squid Game era,
Yeah, they could certainly do some things. Like, I feel like The Running Man, the original, didn't go far enough in some regards.
Well, it's camp.
Yeah, it is campy.
And Richard Dawson, it did a lot of really crazy shit for its time. If you think about it,
that's true.
I mean, it does. There is a moment, that would be a really good one to now, because things are getting desperate. Talk about $10 Big Macs. What the fuck? You don't want to raise minimum wage. What are you doing? I'll join this fit crazy game and let former wrestlers chase me.
I think there are plenty of like dystopian science fiction movies that could just be like set in the modern day at this point.
I mean, the road kind of was. But that's an easy one to adapt, I think, for all time.
Yeah.
Like that's one that you could always just bump it up, another 20 years. You just find new junk on the road.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a cannibal family.
Yeah.
I've just done a quick Google, and apparently The Running Man is being adapted by Edgar Wright.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Oh
Really?
shit! Oh man!
Is he good news?
Well, we heard
Yeah,
it here
no.
first, folks.
Listen, like, okay, yeah.
All right.
I mean, and
I'm
Edgar
in.
Wright has been having like
He's hit and miss, but like his hits are fucking phenomenal.
No, I think that he's pretty. Well, I think the only one that I didn't like is probably The World's End, and
I was hoping you were going to say that.
Look, The World's End's my favorite one because listen, the second Simon Pegg walked in with the Sisters of Mercy T-shirt and a trench coat on, at that age, trying to get his friends to meet him at the bar, I looked at my wife and said, "That would have been me had we not gotten married." And I was right with that movie the rest of the time.
Okay, that's fair. I did watch it when I was like 20, so
it spoke directly to me specifically,
Yeah.
almost to the point of calling my name.
yeah.
I
I was more of a Scott Pilgrim guy. I know that Michael Cera, a lot of people didn't like that decision, but I felt like he was.
It was fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was very, very well done. But like,
yeah. It does not. It pales in comparison to the graphic novel, but they literally say that in the movie. But
I felt like I wanted to like Baby Driver, but it was really underwhelming for me.
yeah, I mean that one.
Amazing.
I liked it. I don't love it, but
It had a
it's
cool
good.
soundtrack. It got people to listen to John Spencer Blues Explosion again, so I'm okay with that. But like, it's a good cast, kind of squandered.
What were we gonna say, Andrew?
Did you guys see Last Night in Soho?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
yet.
I did.
No.
I did quite like that. Actually, that's another good response to the whole the Me Too movement. That was a film, and I don't know. I mean, like,
Well,
Because
response how? Because I haven't seen it.
well, because it's a very different film for Edgar Wright to make. It's kind of Edgar Wright is kind of in because it wasn't really the sort of clever that you're used to with Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
And I think compared to I think he and Ryan Johnson are actually kind of at the same a similar point in their careers. They hit the big time, and now they're kind of just making movies that appeal to them personally, and kind of breaking from their trademarks as filmmakers.
Well, yeah, I always like that. I applaud that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
you
man,
kind of
when I
need
saw-
to do that, I think.
When I saw Inside Man, I had to keep telling myself, "Hey, man, Spike Lee's doing this." Because Inside Man slaps.
Yeah,
I think with all these filmmakers, you can really tell that it's coming from a place of love for film.
Mhm.
Like with Last Night in Soho and all the stuff
Yeah.
that Ryan Johnson is doing. I mean, these guys have an encyclopedic knowledge of film.
yeah.
Have you ever
yeah.
heard the commentary for Hot Fuzz between Tarantino and Edgar Wright?
shit. I have not.
It's
I
all
have
on
not,
YouTube.
but-
It's like, man, their knowledge is just another level. They bring so
Yeah.
much of their kind of film history and their own references into it.
Yeah.
It's amazing to
Yeah.
listen to.
So Edgar Wright doing The Running Man, like I think that would work. I think that could work really well.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm interested. I want to see that.
yeah, absolutely.
Less convinced about Taika Waititi doing Akira.
Yeah,
I'm less convinced
and
about
that's exact-
anybody doing Akira. You know who needs to do
Again.
Akira? The fellow that just did fucking Godzilla Minus One.
yeah.
Oh, I was going to say
I mean-
Villeneuve.
Like,
Oh, sure,
wait, who?
sure,
Villeneuve.
yeah.
Oh
Denny.
yeah. I mean, but
He-
he's
yeah.
already got his cyberpunk chops though. So I mean,
he has, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's kind of. It's really interesting that he's like kind of in his own way pulling kind of like
But-
a Ridley Scott adjustment, where
Yeah.
like Ridley Scott changed cinema with Alien and Blade Runner, and now this guy shows up. He's like, "Yeah, I can do Blade Runner. Also, here's Arrival, and oh yeah, here's fucking Dune."
dude, yeah. Here's the progenitor of modern space opera fiction. Like,
Amazing.
It's fantastic.
and the first one that apparently does it right. I mean, I know that there are fans of like David Lynch's Dune.
Oh, I'm
but-
a fan of David Lynch's, but I fucking love this stuff.
yeah. But shit.
God, Villeneuve doing fucking Akira, man. Now you
Yeah.
got me sitting here
Oh
like,
yeah, Akira. Like, well, but that's another movie that doesn't need to be remade,
No, and
especially not by Americans.
no. Here's the thing. I got 6 volumes over there saying it hasn't been made.
That's true. That is very true.
I heard rumor some time ago in my vague, like, weed-filled past that someone had actually said they were going to do a series. Like, I don't know if it's live action or anime, but they were going to do a series out of it. And
I
I'm
think
just
someone
like,
on the Discord said that.
please do that.
Yeah. Oh,
I'd
yeah.
love to
I
see
mean,
that.
the movie is only like one half of it.
Not even.
No, it gets. I remember reading through it, or well,
I mean, yeah, but
guess,
it's
maybe it's
and it's incredible.
Yeah.
But like, they were making the movie before he finished the fucking book.
Yeah,
and what the film does stands alone is a major like high fucking watermark moment for me.
Yeah.
Remember the first time I saw it, I saw a clip of it on MTV and then tried to hunt it down for like months. And then it showed up on VHS with that shitty first dub. And it was on VHS. I was like, I'll get it. And because it was like $20. And then I heard there was a widescreen subtitled edition for $30. And then I went and I got that. I had a problem for a while. I've got a fucking Canada jacket on the back of my chair right now.
Man. But yeah, God, what else?
Christ, I just fanboyed out. I like never do that.
Yeah. Oh man,
You want to know what my remake would be? Fucking Damnation Alley.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
There was so much there that just, God damn it!
Lots of unmined potential.
The Landmaster is still my favorite vehicle in cinema. It left a stupid imprint on me, and unlike certain fucking trucks of the cyber sort, it does float. It floats like a motherfucker.
I always thought the truck in Mass Effect that you go on other planets was
the Mako.
It's so close to that.
Yeah. God, what else?
Yeah, we're okay. Let's talk about Big Truck. No, I'm kidding. Because I love them. There was that weird The Highwayman TV show that had Jocko from the fucking Energizer commercials and some other guy, and just drove around in this really fucked up truck that was awesome.
Yeah.
Probably die instantly if you wrecked into anything, but like look cool.
Yeah.
Lord.
Man, I was unprepared for this question. I feel like I should have more things in the barrel, more movies in the barrel.
Well, it's like they come up when we see them, and I go back and forth. What was that one that had Brad Dourif in it?
Oh, right. Death Machine.
Death Machine is like one where I'm like, no, I kind of like it as it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, like somebody, a comedian, like a fucking comedy actor or director would have to take this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's all about the Dourif.
Yeah.
He showed up for fucking work. I'm telling you.
Come on. The three stoner anarchists who are trying to take down the corporation were pretty great too.
They're great.
Yeah,
it's Stephen Norrington's first movie, the guy that did Blade and then ended fucking Sean Connery's career.
In retrospect, I think that I remember what I said on the episode. That movie doesn't really know what it is. I know what I said at that point. I thought it knew what it was. It doesn't really know what it is, but it definitely it has heart.
It knows how it wants to end.
Yeah,
damn it,
man.
It wants to have like a cyborg fight a fucking monster. It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sold on the poster alone. I'm just looking at it.
Oh man, yeah.
It's a riot. It's great.
God.
Yeah, I don't know shit, Andrew. What I don't know. Anything?
I'm sort of my mind just blanks when it comes to such an open question.
Yeah. Well, because,
no.
I don't know. I guess I feel like for the most part, you just kind of want to let movies be.
Yeah.
Because
most of the time,
sequel-wise,
most of the time.
I think The Matrix is a universe that could have really been expanded upon and really brought up to modern day. And then I wasn't particularly keen on the
Resurrections.
Yeah. Resurrections.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I did like it, but like the thing that I really liked about it is how for about the first 40-45 minutes, it's like holding you by the ears. Not you specifically, but certain people who saw the first movie and misunderstood it and said, no, asshole, this is what the movie's fucking about. And I was like, you never see this. Like, this has never happened.
Oh yeah,
before.
yeah. I mean, and well, I think a lot of its construction too was kind of really just a middle finger, especially to Warner Brothers, because
Oh yeah.
Oh, I really
And-
admire the boldness of Lana Wachowski to be like, okay, no, if you're going to make another
That's-
one, then I'm going to do it, and I'm going to
yeah,
show you the middle finger as I do it.
yeah. That's really the punkest thing that
It
she
is.
could have done in
It
her
is.
position, and I like
That's it.
just round of applause to her for that. Man,
But
yeah, Eon Flux too actually is one that I would remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then maybe I'd watch it. No, I made the mistake. Okay, so I had this moment in my life where I was really into Equilibrium.
Mm.
I thought gun fu was going to be a thing.
Yeah. Well, it kind of is at this point.
Yeah, but like not like that.
Yeah.
What the Matrix is doing is just it's like John Woo-esque. It's very much ballet, sort of just the pirouettes and the movement. But like they were like every punch ended in a bullet, and it was like, oh wow, that's dope. And then I went and watched his next film, which was Ultraviolet with.
Oh God, yeah.
I bought that in a metal DVD from like a fucking Walmart or some shit. And I went home and I put it in, and what dog shit.
Man, Ultraviolet is one of those movies that's just like,
that needs a remake.
does it though? Does it? Can we just leave it in the vault and just leave it behind?
You can put any story in there. The only thing that it had was like paper cell phones.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, it was really highlighted on DVD every shop I went into. I was like, oh, that film looks cool. I really want to see that. And then, eventually when I was older,
that movie tried so hard to be cyberpunk, but it
I to this day don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, I did vampires, I think, something like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
But
it's no Daybreakers. Surprising cyberpunk movie.
yes.
yeah.
What else? God.
Like an actual Western. You know how like the Seventh Samurai exists, and it's fantastic. It's a great piece of cinema, of course. Everyone knows this. But then like the Magnificent Seven was a really kind of cool take on it.
Yeah.
Now, what if you took the Wild Bunch and put in a cyberpunk setting? I think you'd have something there.
Yeah. Cyberpunk reboots, I think, would be a more interesting thing.
Because the Wild Bunch works as a title, first of all. And second of all, it is a one last job. It's like the greatest one last job movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. Here's one. Mute could use a remake.
Oh,
I didn't see that.
It bothers me in the first place because if you look at the story, there's no reason for it to be cyberpunk.
Absolutely. It wasn't supposed to be, but Duncan Jones decided to make it set it in the future. It's not even really a cyberpunk movie. It's just it takes place in a cyberpunk world.
Yeah.
But there's nothing they really have to say about the way technology is like
that
changing us.
I've always had this. I love mundane sci-fi, like the story about the street, the guy who like sweeps up the street, you know, and then like around him is all this like massive fucking giant overarching crime and stuff. But this dude just literally has to get through his shift.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked the idea of doing just like a relationship drama that happens to be set, in a cyberpunk or the future.
What's that? There's one that's that was announced recently. I think it's like Molly and Max in the future. Or something. Hang on. Let me. I'm gonna look.
I have like the vaguest recollection. There's been a few trailers lately that have been kind of like, oh hey.
Yeah, it's called Molly and Max in the future. Molly with an I, and it looks like it's going to be riffing on like Tron and Blade Runner and a bunch of stuff like that.
All right.
Actually, it came out last year. Shit. Oh,
could you like something?
You can watch it on Amazon Prime Video for $5.99. It's on YouTube. So,
well, shit. All right.
Yeah. Cool.
Man. Yeah, we should see more stuff like that. Like,
I think
like Her. I did really like Her.
Oh, it's one of my favorite films. I think it's difficult when it comes to futuristic stuff because going back to the mundanity of filmmaking, that stuff costs money and the rom-com doesn't. So when you want to, throw the money at it that isn't actually doing any set pieces,
Well,
it's harder to get the investment, which is a shame.
Well, I mean, Cyberpunk is now. Look at Mr. Robot. That show doesn't take place in the future at all, really. I mean, or the very near future. But
It's
but
in
now,
that Max Headroom 15 minutes into the future.
Yeah.
not even really. It's like more like 5 minutes into the future. And, and really now it's the past. Well, like Terminator Dark Fate did kind of an interesting thing. I would argue that that's really the only film that could be made, that and maybe Terminator 2 could be argued as like real cyberpunk movies because, it takes place in the modern day and, there's...
Well, I mean, if you throw time travel into it, you might as well just make the first one like the granddad.
Yeah. And it gets a little kind of funky when you add time travel into cyberpunk because that's a different genre. That's why I don't really see Looper as kind of a cyberpunk movie. It's just futuristic is all.
Well, I saw a news story that said that we're on the verge of it.
No, that the writer of that story is on the verge of realizing that we're in a cyberpunk world. So
that writer ate an edible and then lost 4 hours.
Yep. Oh man.
Anyhow, yeah. So, fuck yeah. Good show, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, Andrew. This was great.
Pleasure.
And check.
Fun to
Thanks
know.
for listening to us talk.
Yeah. No, it's been amazing.
I tell everybody again one more time where they can find you and check out your stuff.
Yeah, sure. So Andrew McGee onto Google. I was saying before that I'm second to a lawyer. So if you can boost my SEO, type in Andrew McGee and go on the second result, which is to my website with my films.
Yeah.
Also on Instagram, just as Andrew McGee. Check out Venus on Dust on YouTube. And I can say that the 2 shorts that I'm finishing at the moment, First Item Eden Bound, they'll be finished by the end of May. But then we'll be doing a festival run, and who knows when it'll be online. But there'll definitely be and things. So I'm very excited to share that into the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we will be we'll definitely give you a signal boost for Venus, at least on our Discord, which you should join if you're listening.
Because we have stuff too. We've got go to neondystopia.com that now exists in the world. And there's an archive with like all the articles we were really adamant about keeping.
Yes.
Check out, if you're listening to this, you know where to find this. Also at patreon.com/neondystopia. Kick us a buck if you can.
Check out that article, that interview with Andrew that we did in the archive for Neon Dystopia.
Hell, actually, we'll link to it in our Patreon.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And so, like when this drops, and as soon as I get it edited and everything, that's like we're on like Instagram, I guess. I don't know. Blue Sky CoinOps at CoinOps on Blue Sky. If you want to find me there, someone did recently. Welcome to the Discord. It was fantastic meeting you. And shit, guys, I got no capper for this. I don't know.
Well, peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Take care.